Hey, how's it going, YouTube? We've got some interesting RLCS news going on in the conversation surrounding roster changes, but it's one in particular that has kind of plagued us towards the tail end of the season for RLCS, even though we're still not done with it. First things first, if you guys are ever trying to stay up to date on this stuff and want to make it easy, in the description down below, ! RLCS rosters in Twitch chat, or in the description for the YouTube video, you'll have a document with dates, links, all that kind of stuff, as well as a ongoing follow of all the weird topics that are happening in the RLCS. Makes it nice and easy for you. Make sure you check that out. The thing we're going to be focusing on today, though, is Dignitas. In particular, Dignitas as a team has kind of gone through some bumps and bruises, I would say. They came into the season and they looked pretty solid. Probably the best performing team during the offseason coming into the RLCS, where really solid performances, consistent top 2, top 3, and just weren't really losing. And we're like, you know what? Maybe Arsenal, this new kid Stizzy, and Gyro could be something special. Again, they made iteration changes. They brought in different players. Evo was back and forth on some stuff too. And the kind of interesting conversation that was surrounded by it was due to the fact that they didn't know who they wanted to put in. Like, Violent Panda as their coach was kind of debating between, do we keep Evo or do we keep Gyro? And many of us, kind of from a, I guess, a unbiased perspective, are like, Evo objectively is the better player. But after a certain point, you kind of have to come into question and go, okay, why is a player this talented, that everybody knows is this talented, not getting opportunities at the high level? And there's got to be a reason for that. So when it was further pointed out that it was Gyro who was going to be getting the start at the very end of the season, to me, it just kind of tells something about the player itself. Even though we don't know the details, even though we don't know behind the scenes, there could be other outlying factors, could be family things, could be, we don't know. So Gyro got the start. They ended the season somewhat okay, but we knew that times were changing. We then get into the beginning of the offseason, because for Dignitas, their season is over, and we start seeing a different iteration of the roster yet again, where it is Evo back on the starting with Arsenal as well as Stizzy, and you're like, okay, now they're playing with this, even though Gyro was the one who won the spots. What's the situation here? Well, we have official confirmation now that Gyro is off the team. There was some conversation about how Gyro was transitioning into more of the content side for Dignitas, where he was helping with the watch parties for Shift Summer League and was supporting in that kind of regard with their producer and Caleb. But in this circumstance, it seems to be that they have officially released him and say thanks for everything. And again, a little bit of memery and stuff too. But overall, the fact that Gyro is gone is going to be interesting to see on where he ends up, because he has been a player that has bounced around quite a bit and tried to find form. He says, appreciate everyone at Dignitas. Thanks for everything. Great org, great people, fun ride, which was kind of short-lived, unfortunately, for him. But yeah, I think this is kind of that. It's a difficult time because I really don't know where Gyro is going to end up. I don't know what his next team is going to be, or if it is going to be a team that is competitive. Obviously, Gyro has gone through many iterations when you talk about the Rogue situation and then over to FaZe and everything else. Like, it's kind of trickled down, which is weird because I personally don't think Gyro's played poorly. Like, he has done pretty much what has been asked of him, and I don't think was the problem when it came to the Dignitas roster when they were having such inconsistent results. So I think it's going to just come down to him hopefully getting a good tryout and really making his mark, but more than ever for a reason for him to grind. But we have a long off season and it hasn't even technically begun yet, with Worlds still a month away. So as for Gyro, gonna have to find a new team. On the other side of that, and not necessarily roster related, this is just kind of a weird conversation, something I saw on the timeline today. Fortnite is putting a website out for their shop, and I'm curious if this is going to become a thing for Rocket League. But on the shop for the internet, like, you can go through a browser. So a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm gonna miss out on the item shop thing, you can now purchase them online. And I'm curious if this is going to be something that's implemented into Rocket League in the future as well, where people have the ability to buy items and whatnot. Obviously, a lot of people still upset about the whole trading situation and how that was taken away, but it is interesting that they're going to a web HTML base system that allows you to purchase things. And like, obviously, we just saw the collaboration with Alan Walker, and a lot of those items then go into Fortnite as well. But is there a potential shop for Rocket League that is done through a browser in the future? Again, these are UE5 implementations that I think make these possible. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon for Rocket League, but it seems like they are trying to make this a more robust and profitable venture. And why not enable it on desktop, not through a client? It'll be very interesting to see how things play out. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. overall, we've got a bunch of updates, just as an update for everybody on the channel too, and I'll probably talk about it in a future channel. I'm going to be taking my first vacation in like a decade, so I'm trying to pre-record a lot of things, so there is going to be a lot of news that comes out. We're going to have to do recaps on EWC when I get back and everything else. We'll probably be watching those live on stream when I get back and then reacting to them accordingly and kind of making recap videos for y'all. So there is going to be some delayed news over the next couple of weeks, but that's just because I am literally in the middle of an ocean and I don't have internet. So just keeping you guys up to date on that. But we'll try to update and keep you guys up to date on as much as I can over the few weeks we have. But I'm going to try to get everything I can before we end up leaving. So as always, if you guys appreciate the content, consider hitting like, subscribe, notification helps me out greatly. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.